What's up, everybody? Jason from Jason's Exotic Reptiles. Today, I'm going to be answering your user-submitted questions to my Facebook and Instagram post. I made a post on my Instagram and Facebook and asked you guys, my subscribers, to submit some questions that you wanted me to answer. We're going to go through these questions. I have my phone ready. I'm going to read them. Maybe not word for word because some of these posts or questions are quite long. I'm going to apologize in advance if I mispronounce your name, especially once we get to some of your Instagram handles. Some of those things are pretty out there with the actual tag name, but I'll do my best, and we're going to make sure we edit the video to put your actual comment in there so others can see. And if you guys are subscribers of my channel, make sure to show these guys some support and go on and subscribe to their Instagram or their Facebook and give them a little bit of love. But let's dive into the questions. Question number 1 from Richard Decato is, when are you expecting more baby boas? That's a great question. I would like to know myself. So I am expecting baby boas from now until probably the next 3 or 4 months. We're currently filming this video early to mid-May. So I'm hoping I'm going to have some more boas. I've had a horrible season so far. A lot of slug outs and a lot of low baby counts. That's predominantly because I was pushing some young males, breeding some old males, and breeding some older females. I was also doing multiple males to multiple females, which I tell you guys not to do. And this year has just really solidified that. Don't breed multiple males to multiple females. I'm going completely against my own advice because I'm really trying to pull out some key genetics, make some cool boas. But as a result, it's backfiring as I knew it probably would, but I did it anyways. And I'm getting a lot of kind of low baby count in this. I've got 1 baby this morning, 4 babies the other day. I did have a nice, healthy Mayan litter of 10 babies. It was 10 perfect babies, no slugs. But you should see some new babies coming to the website, I would say in the next month or so, depending on when this video posts. Next question is from Tom King. And I think this is more of a video series question, but it says, I think a good series of videos on visual markers on some hets, like blood and leopard, which are usually easy to see. Also incomplete dominant genes that may have very low expression when blended with other genes that are similar to jungle and labyrinth. So I agree that's probably a better video series. I can't really show off the het markers without physically showing them, but I think leopard and blood are perfect low expression, anetheristic, and sometimes even things like albino. Those are going to all have some visual markers or potentially visual markers. They'll never be able to take that 66% het and bring it to 100% het visually, but if you have a whole litter, you can potentially pick out the ones or breed those ones back that you may think are the hets that show some of those markers. So I'll make some videos on that. I think that's a great video topic. Thank you, Tom, for submitting that. Question from Evan K. Hey, Evan, what's up? I like you. What is your experience with retained sperm and boas ovulating without being paired that season? So me personally, I've actually never had retained sperm in a boa. I've always bred the boa and it gives me babies, or it doesn't, but I've never personally had retained sperm in boas. I think that it's kind of, I don't think it's as common as people think it is and as common as people say it is. The same thing with parthogenic litters. Do they happen? Yes. Does retained sperm happen? I'm not sure. People say it does, but most of the time when you dig a little deeper to the retention component of this and you start asking questions, this person didn't have the boa long, and I think the person actually bred to that boa prior to them acquiring that adult animal. I could be totally wrong, but I don't have any personal experience with the retained sperm and boas. Question from Crandall Reptiles is, I'm glad you're doing another viewer question video. I really enjoyed submitting questions with the video featuring Kevin from Nerd. Question, what factors do you consider before you bring in a new breeding project? And then there's a video topic. But I would say the factors I consider before bringing in a new breeding project, it varies depending on what I'm trying to accomplish with that. One is, do I like it? That's probably the first factor I consider is this something that I like? Because if I don't like it, I don't want to say I don't care if you like it, but my goal is to breed animals for myself and get the enjoyment of the hobby for me. And then if other people like it, then I will breed it. But for me, it's, do I like this animal? Other factors that I look at is there a market for it? And is the market oversaturated? So things I'll specifically pay attention to is me, I'm kind of in a unique position because I have a lot of people asking me for animals, but is there something that everybody's asking for? That is usually where I get my insights on what could be coming next. I'll also look is there something that I see people buying a lot of whether it was in previous years or before. So I try to weigh out, am I too late into this project? Is this something that the time has already passed for me to get into it? And by the time I buy it and breed it and produce it 3 or 4 years from now, I've already missed that curve. I want to ride the curve up and down. So I usually look for things that people are not looking at right now. So blood was a great example. Blood's been around for a long time, but years ago I recommended, hey, now's your time to get into blood. It's now or never. This is going to take off. Now, blood is always going to be a staple, but that real peak, I think we're kind of right at the top of that bell curve, and we're going to ride it down. Now, it's not going to be a exponential ride down. This is going to be a slow, flat kind of curve down, and as new morphs get thrown into it, it's going to peak back up again. So I try to find that, what is nobody looking at right now, so I can buy it, and then I can ride that curve up. That's going to change from year to year, and sometimes even within the same year that will change because somebody will produce something. So I think I saw albino bloods coming, and I think that really put bloods on the map. That was when I recommended people buying their blood stuff and bringing in their blood stock, is this is coming. If you don't have blood, you're going to need it or you're going to want it, especially as a breeder. And I tried to ride that curve up and down. And that one, as I mentioned, it's kind of right almost at that top, but it's going to continue to ride out for a long time. Question from Joshua Smith is, what's the best advice you would give to a first-time breeder? I would say patience and consistency. So if you try to rush the process and you try to find shortcuts, you're going to end up in the wrong path. Find what you like, pick what you like. Don't worry about what other people are doing, because if everybody's trying to make the same thing, you're going to be stuck in this big mess of making the same thing as everybody else and an oversaturated morph. So find what you like, be consistent and patient with it, buy younger animals and just put in the time. Don't try to risk bringing in older animals. You're going to get caught up in something, and that animal may not breed. They may bring in a disease to what you have. I'm not saying always older animals or adult animals are bad, but me personally, I always raise my own babies. They're in my conditions, and it usually works out really well for me. You can take some shortcuts with buying adults, but they almost always backfire on you. So patience, do what you like, and be consistent with your care and husbandry. That's really going to make you a great breeder in the future. Next video is from Erin, or next question is from Erin, and that is, let me see, we have a video topic, but question, you as a breeder at a reptile show or other, so these are the questions. Questions you ask a breeder at a reptile show or other methods you use to verify a quality breeder, insurance considerations as a breeder, and legal challenges. Those are good questions, and I actually just filmed the video, which will be coming out either before or after this, on what to consider when going into a reptile expo. I would say the predominant thing you want to do when you're considering breeders is, do they have a reputation? Find them out in advance and try to figure out who is going to be at the show. Do some research on them before you even enter the reptile expo, so you already are familiar with who you're going to be talking to. Then when you're at the show, look at the cleanliness of the animals. Look at how healthy they are. Do they have full-bodied on them, or are they kind of skinny and frail-looking? Avoid them, and you could do a ton of research, and then you see their animals in person, and they're a little underwhelming, not from the colors and patterns, but just their overall body tone and condition. You want to make sure that they have active tongue flicks, especially if you're interested. Hold that animal, take it out, make sure you're getting that active, alert animal, especially with boas. Boas are always active and alert, unless they're cold. But that's really what I look for in an animal when purchasing. Then in terms of breeders, I just do my research way ahead of time before I'm actually face-to-face with them, and I target specific people that I may want to purchase from. I never go in with no plan, and definitely check out the video because I go into a little more depth of what you should expect. I think it's 8 tips that you should expect to be a new person entering the Reptile Expo. So check out that video. That's going to give you a little bit more in-depth insight on what to look for and how to prepare for your expo, specifically as a beginner. Next question is from Perry, and that is, what boa morph stays the most white as an adult? I'm going to say Superfire or Fire Diamond. Those are the same thing, just different terms. Superfires usually are a pure white boa. They're a leucistic boa. Sometimes they can get some freckling, if you want to ask the breeder questions, you may want to look at their adults, because if their adults have freckling on them, that animal may also have freckling. But Superfire is going to be about as white as you're going to get. Second to that, I might say a Snow. Now, a Snow is going to tend to have more dynamics than a Moonglow. I love Moonglows. I have Moonglows. I have Snows. In my experience, Snows stay whiter than Moonglows do, because that hypo pulls some of that trait out of it, and it reduces the pattern. That kind of bluish tone that the pattern is going to give on a Snow boa is going to make it a little whiter. But I would say a Leucistic is definitely the Fire or Superfire is going to give you the most white boa you can get. So that's all we have for Facebook for now. I didn't give you guys a lot of time. I'm going to transition over to Instagram. Question from Reaper Reptiles, Mass. So this is Dana. He actually helps me out here at some of the cleaning, and he comes over. I know Dana very well, so thanks, Dana, for submitting a question. Make sure you give him a follow. Reaper Reptiles, Mass. Is, where do you think new breeders fail the most often? Is this something regarding breeding on business side or something else? I would say new breeders fail the most because they are trying to rush the process. And similar to the question I answered for Facebook is, if you rush the process or you try to take shortcuts, you're probably going to fall flat somewhere. So trust the process, be patient, and make sure you're doing it from a passion perspective. Another area where people fail is they try to buy what they think other people want. They try to build their breeding projects around what they think other people want. Other people follow trends and fads, and if you're following those trends and different fads that pop up, you're going to be left with stuff that you may not actually like, and it may fall off the radar by the time you actually produce. So put your patience into this and trust the process and buy what you like and breed what you like. That's what this is all about, is making things that you enjoy, and I think others will follow in that path. Next question from Wabi Sabi Exotics. That's actually Zach. He also works here. Zach, I've known Zach for a while, so thank you, Zach. It is, what are some markers for IMG that can check at birth, like before they've started darkening at all? This is a hard one because it's really going to be depending on the morphs that you bring into the equation. But generally what I look for are going to be the darker orange colored eyes. That's not always the marker, but that's what I look for. They usually have some heavier head stamps on them as well, and their pattern might look a little different. Now, there's a video that went around. I don't know when it was made. It was years ago, and it was a great video, but I think too many people are looking at what the person put out as the pattern. I don't see a significant pattern difference, especially once you start throwing in different morphs, but there's a slightly different pattern. What I saw put out in that video, I'm not saying it was a bad video because it was applicable at the time, but I don't think that's a one-size-fits-all. I've seen plenty of boas that have what would classify as an IMG pattern, and they're not IMG at all. The other thing is you may want to just hold back your babies for a couple sheds. I know it's a kind of a rush when you make some cool babies. You want to show them to the world. You want to post out what they are, and maybe you want to post them for sale. But patience is key with IMG stuff. And by 6 months, if they don't start getting dark freckling, they're probably not an IMG unless you have some heavy combo mutations in it. But generally, I look for those golden color, orangish like eyes. That's going to really help bring those out to this one's IMG and this one's not. Question from Serpent of the Light. So this is, in your experience, are VPI T positive all slow growing or just smaller adults overall, only when considering the base morph, of course? So I don't actually have VPIs that are smaller. My VPIs are the same size as all my other boas. People have said that they have more sensitive stomachs. I have not experienced that. I do think VPIs may have a slightly shorter lifespan, especially once you start stacking them with other combo mutations. I'm not sure why, because most lines are T positive are much stronger than a T negative animal, like a Sharp or a Kahl albino, but VPIs do tend to have a shorter lifespan. Overall, I haven't noticed a size difference in them. Maybe the breeders are just breeding them into some smaller growing boas, and that's why they're smaller, but my VPIs are just as large as any of my other boas. So I personally haven't experienced that. I'd be curious if other people watching this video have. Drop it in the comments. Let me know. Question from Bot Reptiles is, do you think there will be any new morphs in boas or berms in the near future? I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I think that there may be some new berm morphs popping up. In the U.S., it's going to be hard because we have the Lacey Act and different types of CITES that we can't get new berm morphs in. So I would say Burm morphs, probably not, unless somebody illegally smuggles something in from outside the country. Boa morphs, I do think something new is going to pop up. There's always new boa morphs kind of just out there. People are flushing them out. There's some that have been in the US for a while that people are trying to work out. But I think the boa morph market is going to be limited for now. I could be wrong. There's always some wild-caught animals that are popping up and they're looking unique. It'll take a few years to people to prove them out to see if they're actually genetic or not. But I think the boa morph market and Burm market is kind of what we have is what we're going to have unless one thing pops up. But it's not going to be like we're going to get 5 new morphs like ball pythons had. This is going to be a very slow progress for boas, which I think is good because it creates a really stable market for the boas and Burms. Is what we have is what we have, and it's going to keep those prices stable. As soon as a new morph comes out, people try to add it to a combination and it drops the prices of other boas and Burms that don't have that morph in there. So I think, will we have it? Potentially. When we're going to have it, are we going to have it soon? Probably not anytime soon, till somebody pops something out from the wild. But these happen, I would say every 5 to 10 years, you're going to see a new boa morph come out of the wild. Question from Joshua Left is, what morphs do you specifically choose not to keep in your collection for projects and why? I don't think there's anything that I specifically don't have by choice. I mean, there's some that I haven't got into, whether it be there's a saturated market for it, or I think I'm too late into what that morph is doing. I don't know if there's one specific that I wouldn't buy eventually. Some of them I'm just waiting to stabilize a little bit more before I enter into that morph, and others I just may not bring in because too many other people are working with those. But in terms of what morph is good and what morph is bad, I don't think there's anything. Everything's on the table right now that I can think of. Most of the time, boas have pretty healthy genetics until you start pairing some of the super forms, things like super motley, but I have motleys and doesn't shy away from it. I mean, I obviously wouldn't have those fatal genes. I think things like smoke, which I believe is a Celtic motley or Celtic Aztec, it's one of those, that's also fatal. So I avoid the fatal combos because what's the purpose of buying a snake that's going to die? What's the purpose of making a snake that's going to die? But I don't really have anything specifically I wouldn't buy. It's just stuff that I'm not buying because I'm too late or it's already semi-saturated for me to get into. Question from Jason Hines is, what is your favorite pairing you've done and would you like to produce it in the future? So what is your favorite pairing you've done and would you like to produce in the future? I would say I'm really targeting T-positive IMG, but Berkline T-positive IMG. My favorite morph that I've produced to date is probably Goldie. She's my super hypo, super Mayan, JERT positive blood. I mean, she's just an incredible looking boa. I love that animal. I haven't been able to produce from her, so she would probably be one that I want to produce with the most. I continue to breed her to the same male, and I keep getting the same slug outs. So next year I'm going to change that male up. I don't think it's her. I think it's just the male I've been breeding to is very old, and it's kind of past his prime for breeding. So she's probably the one that I would breed the most, and she might be my favorite morph I have here. So anything Mayan I really like. I have a lot of it in my collection, I've kept it pure, but I think all that stuff is in the realm of what you're asking. I also like different VPI combos. I like a lot of stuff, and if I don't like it, I don't have it. So anything I have, I like, but I think different VPI combos, I really like anything T-positive. I think T-positive still gives you that cool dimension and dynamic, while it holds the cool kind of pattern morph and gives strong genetics in the process. Question from Revived Reptiles. Hey, you guys! Revived Reptiles has also been with me for a long time. He's a super good dude, Nick Crisio, and his question is, hey brother, what's the best way to get noticed as a new and upcoming breeder who makes quality animals? I would say it's similar to starting, is persistence, patience, and consistency. Is you have to make sure that your animals, every interaction to the customer is perfect, and try to build that reputation through the customer reviews. If you know you deliver them a good quality animal and they had a good customer experience, definitely ask them for a review. Even if you are not sure, ask them for a review. You can learn from what went wrong. And most people are usually pretty good when you ship them something where they want to help you out. They want to give you that review. I think it's just essential to start building those reviews so other people read them and they get confidence that you're somebody they can trust. I always recommend starting with some of the more pet-friendly price ranges of stuff you're breeding. Nick, I know you breed Boas, so I think what you're breeding right now, some of the Aztec jungles, different type of leopards, that stuff that's in that kind of a less than $500 price range is really good to get those newer breeders and those newer pet keepers. Provide them more information than what they ask for. So if somebody gives you a simple question, try to read between the lines and predict what their next question might be. The more you can give them the first time, the better, the more confidence they're giving to you. And just treat everybody with respect. Treat everybody as if you were that customer. And I think that will take you far. But you need to get into the Facebook groups, help people out, just constantly be trying to help people. And that's what I did, is just always try to help people with their level of care. I only speak on what I know. I give people credit for other things they do. And for me, that's worked really well. And I think that's a business model that can be copied and repeated pretty readily. I would also say try to make you unique. And this goes for everybody, is find what's unique about you. Don't try to copy somebody else, whether it's me or a different breeder. Don't try to copy what I'm doing. Try to make yourself unique and why you stand out, why people should buy from you. So everybody has something unique. And I think the combination of constantly staying visible, not overstepping your knowledge, just being real genuine in what you're doing, and give all the customers a great interaction and a great experience. And many of those will be repeat customers for a long time to come. And they'll gonna tell their friends about it. It's just kind of snowballs. The hardest part is getting that traction. Once you get that traction, you can't let that fall off. You have to actually push harder. So just be out there, be present. You guys have probably noticed it. I'm making at least one Instagram and Facebook post a day. I'm making multiple consistent YouTube videos. I have a family. I own property. I have a full-time job that I'm working 50, 60 hours a week at, and I still do all this. So you just need to find the time. And if you really want it, you put in the effort, you find the time, and it'll happen. But it's not an overnight thing. It's patience, consistency, persistence, and over time, you're going to build that reputation, and people will be asking you guys all the same question. Those are the questions that got submitted. There are probably more that will come in after I film this video. I appreciate everybody who submitted one because I did not give you guys a lot of time, but hope you guys liked the video. Drop some comments down below. I read every comment and I try to respond to every comment. I would say if you can, try to keep the comments shorter. I get some really long comments and I don't always have time to read them all and answer quickly. Sometimes I'll miss that comment. So give me your questions below. I'll answer more in this video. Till next video, let's keep it moving.